3:30. And you know, I appreciate Buddy's comments, but Buddy's been working for us for 41 years. He worked a lot more years at 5 days a week than he did 4 days a week. When you look at it, there was a lot more, and almost everybody that's here was hired under 5 days a week. I was talking to Roy Ellis the other day, and Roy said, well, it was only temporary anyway to get us through the economic crisis. So, I mean, I understand everybody got used to it, but I think for the public's interest, that it's best to go back in that go back to what we used to do, 7 to 3:30.
Well, and especially, and I think, I don't know how many people in this group have volunteer businesses or whatever, but I'm wondering, especially during the grass growing time, which also is longer than days, as our days get longer from now on through the summer, if maybe the 7 to 3:30 would allow them to then, do some yard maintenance and so forth, being as the year goes on, it'll be getting dark around 8:30, 9 o'clock. So I'm wondering if that would be I'm not proposing that, I'm just on it as a compromise solution to understanding both sides of the issue, if that makes any sense. So.
Well, first of all, we contract all the grass.
No, I'm not talking about our grass, I'm not talking about, they do personal lawn service themselves for other people. That's what I'm talking about, that they could get off at 3:30 and still do 5 days. And what Mr. Kaufman's saying is, one time we did 7 to 3:30, giving them the, say, 4 to 8 o'clock during the summertime to maybe do some outside employment of lawn service or whatever they're doing. Or tree trimming, because I know one employee does.
You know, what I don't understand is, all the surrounding counties that butts up to us, they working 4 10-hour days. And if it's working in all them other counties, I don't understand why can't it work in Madison County. I don't understand that. And for the complaints, you know, Brian might have got some, but since we changed it back in 2008, I haven't got one complaint about us not working 5 days a week. I haven't got the first.
I haven't had any complaints yet.
Mr. Chair, to add to the conversation, whatever decision we come up with, it needs to be a win-win situation for everybody involved, the public, the board, and the road department.
Yes, sir.
Because we're all here for the public.
That's right.
You had another hand up, Mr. Chairman, back there.
I'm sorry, I missed it. Come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. James.
Listening to the comments and sitting back thinking about what Mr. Kaufman was saying, I looked at the road department when I left a job over in Valdosta. I looked at the road department, I left a 4-day job with Valdosta to come to a 4-day job in Florida. Got a big pay cut. But I came there because it was closer and everything. Not only that, I looked at that road department like a group of yard men that's working for me. And I got an image that I'm trying to keep up. So I like my yard to look pretty. I want it to be neatly cut, neatly grown, and acceptable. And I want everybody to know that I live there. That's what I looked at when I came to this road department. Not looking for a second job or having an outside business. Every time we look at that, and we look at Madison County as a public, and the weeds growing up and all that, 5 days or 4 days, you get no more than you get out the next. Okay? Regardless of how much we put into this here, the whole key thing is the employees are coming up, not complaining, but they're coming up and saying, if something ain't broke, why fix it? If the clock is still ticking and working good, why fix it? I would not go tear up my grandmother's clock, her old-time clock, if it's still going ding, dong. I don't need to go working on it. It's working. So, y'all job, that we elect y'all and put y'all in this position, is not to stand on the fence, not to pull aside, not to do favoritism, but to make the right decision based on the employees that work for the county, as well as residents of the county, as well as voters of the county, as well as members, friends, and families of the county, who y'all represent. And we're not asking for a miracle. We're asking for something simple. If it ain't broke, don't mess with it. That's all we ask.
Well, Mr. Chair, I was gonna stay quiet as I could till I heard that. And I was elected to represent the public and represent the citizen. And unlike my colleague here, yes, I have gotten several complaints about the availability of our road department. And I have spent a lot of time in the last couple of weeks talking to people and friends of mine and just acquaintances, asking them about the services that they feel like they're getting with the 4-day work week. And everyone I've talked to says we'd be better served to serve the public, and that's your primary duty as a commissioner, to represent the public, is to have your employees work 5 days a week. And that's my comment.
Thank you.
You got another
Commissioner.
hand?
Ma'am.
My name is Cynthia Dell Langston, and I'm a member of the community. And what I wanted to bring up is the fact that sometimes in these decision-making processes, you have to think about not only, what factors you should consider. And one of them is how many people do you require to have to run the whole operation on the road crew? Because you have a 4-day work week. So, say for instance, Joe or Sam decides on Thursday, that they're not gonna be able to make it to work, or Monday, they're gonna call in sick. That prolongs their long weekend. I'm not saying they do that, but I'm saying it's a possibility. Will that restrict the road crew from going out and doing the job that they need to do, which reduces the service all the more? So there's a lot of things to consider in the mix. These decisions should not be made from emotional standpoint. It should be made over the idea, what is in the best interest to serve the public? Thank you.
Thank you.
You got another hand?
Ms. Chubb.
Just as Buddy said, he hadn't planned to come speak, I hadn't either. We've all hashed it over and spoken a lot. And I've worked here just 4 years less than Buddy. Whether we work 8-hour days or 10-hour days, this department has done its job, and we've done a good job. We keep the roads open, and we've done a very good job 4 days a week, keeping the roads open. As far as permitting, we've done driveway permits online. We've had maybe 1 or 2 times that we are aware of in all this time that we could not do a permit because we weren't there on Friday. And that's basically the main permitting we do, other than with utilities and so forth, and those take a few days to approve those for work on the roadways. So I don't want it to be an emotional thing. I'm kind of like Frankie a little bit. If it isn't broken, don't fix it. I know that there are always going to be some people that want that extra day that we're there. As I work both schedules, and I'm going to do my best regardless of what work hours I have. And I think the gentlemen that work with me, the other women that work with me, our supervisor will do the same. And I just think we've handled the storms, and we've had some things change, which have been improvements, but we've always managed to keep our roads in good repair. And we did the very best we can, and you have a really good work crew out there. And I respect your opinions, and I just hope you think through this. And if we can do the 4-day work week, continue with it, and it serves everyone, then that's the way I think it should go. But I know it's your decision, Brian's decision with you, and I don't think we need to fight about it, but I just think there should be a lot of thought about it, and not just serving the public, but serving your employees. And they don't get paid, but they would be paid if they were working for a private industry naturally. They do get benefits, we all do, and they make up some of the difference. But anything that we can do to help these work crews that are out there, and we always have overtime crews, we have call out, so all the hours are handled. So just whatever you can do to help these men and women get what they deserve, I just want you to think about that. And if it isn't really broken and it can work this way, so be it. And I too have talked to a lot of different counties, they all have, before they work with. And I asked, well, what complaints do you get? And they said, very little. If we get complaints, it's the people that are going to complain anyway. So those are just things to think about. The DOT has a 4-day work week. So just think about your employees and the public. We want to serve the public, but I don't know that we've ever not served the public. So that's what I'd like you to think about. Thank you.
Mr. Joe, can I ask you a question real quickly? Do you have a way of logging, do you have a answering machine or something that would tell you about calls that comes into the road department on Friday?
We have an answering machine at all times, and
Do
it
you have
refers people, if it's in a, if it's a road issue, call us back, we'll get the details, they can leave the message on the phone. And we pick those up, Lonnie, I think, checks it first thing every Monday morning, or whenever we've had a holiday or whatever, it is there. And we address those issues, and they are referred to the sheriff's department to call if it's a real emergency. Our call-out crew has a phone all the time, they respond to that, they come get the equipment they need, and they go out and take care of any kind of issues that come up after hours.
Do we have a large amount of complaints on Friday, call-outs for the road department?
We have some, but we did kind of a little study on that too, just to get information. And most of our call-outs are after 5, or after even 3. We have people call in and they go on out on their regular hours. But we don't have a phenomenal amount of call-outs unless there's been a real storm. And when we have the storms, we are on duty, and we try to do as Mr. Kaufman wishes and the public during the storm issues. And I think we've all done a good job on that. So I respect whatever opinions you all have, and I respect the decision that you will make, but I'm just asking you to look at all sides. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
can I speak?
Sure.
I promise I'll keep this short, and I'm not gonna say everything I plan to. I'm not gonna try to ask you to vote either way. All I wanna say is, when we come here as, leaders of this county, and you all are the leaders of this county, when we're forced to try to take sides, that's never gonna be a good thing. It's gonna be a no-win situation either way you got. I wish we could go back to trying to figure out how we could keep our employees employed with the county, how to figure out how we can get incentives to get better service from our employees and get them to be dedicated to their job. I got a lot of men out here and women, and some that are not here, that have been with me 18, 20, 25 years. I hate to see them go away because they are very difficult to replace. I wish that we could figure out a way that we can work together and get the cooperation. Madison County's always been known to put our differences to the side and get the job done. I just wish we could get that cooperation back. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Lonnie, I want to say, publicly that I know Commissioner Davis and I last year said one of our key recommendations for the budget was try to get employee raises. We
Yes.
did this year for the first time, I think, in 4 years.
Yes.
And I'm committed to seeing that done again this year. I don't know the feeling of the other commissioners, but I think I would bet they probably agree with me. And I want to say publicly that every year I'm gonna try to see what we can do to make that happen. We can't always do it. we have things that come up, and it's been said already, we're a physically constrained county,
Yes,
and things are tight.
it is.
And, Ms. Barfield can't just arbitrarily drop extra money on, the valuation of property that, is a big home department.
And our funds come from road and gas tax.
That's road gas tax does y'all, that's true. And that, thank God for that. So, thank
If
you.
I make comments, being that said, it's been mentioned that our 4-day, 10-hour day work week is a benefit. And in a sense it is, but we still work our 40 hours. It's not like we're
Still
taking an
40
extra
hours.
day off. We're
Yeah.
still putting in our 40 hours.
Absolutely.
But you gotta look at our employees, when you start taking benefits away, however minute that might be, where does it stop? You know, what other benefits are we gonna lose? And that's where my employees are coming from, and that's part, I think, that you hired me to look out for my employees as well as the well-being of the roads for the people of Madison County. Is once we start losing the benefit, what few benefits that we do have to keep people employed, where does it stop? And that's where my employees are coming from, you know, we're not asking for a lot. But, like I say, that's all I wanna say.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mr. Klein. Seeing no other hands or any comments, I'm gonna open it up for.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I have a few comments I need to make. What if we looked at some employees maybe being off on Monday and some on Friday? I know that'll require some scheduling. But I think with the amount of employees that we have and the skills that we have in the road department, and along with scheduling to make it work, we still go to those 4 10-hour days. And like I say, it's just gonna require some scheduling that's gonna have to be done.
It'll cripple you, if I can, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
It'll cripple us. If you split your workforce on Mondays and Fridays, and I see it now when I am with them, you would assume everybody would go to the doctor on Friday because they're off. But they don't. They take off on Mondays or Thursdays. And so a lot of times people only work 3 days a week. And so it'll be the same thing as if I'm working half a force on Monday and half a force on Friday. And these are crews. These people, you've got to work in teams. And so all of a sudden you got 12 on one day and 12 on another. Well, all it takes is 3 to call in sick and you're crippled. And especially on a Monday, when a lot of stuff comes in, you're gonna be running crippled. And I did this last time, is that you're basically taking your 5 fingers and cutting 2 of them off in half. And so then you're trying to work like that. And I've seen this with Jamie. Jamie's department has gone to doing a split shift. And all it takes is one of them to be out on a Monday and Friday, and I have nobody. Now Clay's department, we've been going back to a 5-day work week. Everybody else in the county is working a 5-day work week. So give us all 5 fingers. We're all supposed to be part of a team, not just the road department, but all the departments. And when you got one department doing something different than the rest of the departments, that cripples us. And cutting me in half Mondays and Fridays is gonna cripple me too. I mean, it's not like we're firing people. All we're asking them is to work what they used to work. Work what I work what the public works. Work what all the rest of my staff work. That's all we're asking.
So is this about the road department working 4 10-hour days and everybody else working 5 days a week? So it's more about that than?
No,
Yes, sir.
it's
Yes, sir.
about everything. It's about, but number one is the public. You're not accessible, because if my most important department can run on 4 days, well, then the rest of my departments could run on 4 days. We could shut administration down and save energy. But that doesn't make any sense, because we're not available to the public. I mean, we gotta be available to the public. You need all 5, you need all departments working. We all ought to be pulling.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I think each department works independently, and, the road department, public works is a lot different than an office staff. It'd be like us trying to tell Lisa that her EMS has to work 5 8-hour days. You know, and it just doesn't work. For each department sets up differently. And, I just wanna say, I go back like Frankie's, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I've only been on the board since November. And I've had comments of, the work that the road department's doing. Very good comments, and they're doing a good job, and if it's working, don't change it.
And that's exactly what I said at the last meeting. It might have a crack or two in it, but it ain't broken. So why should we be most bothered with it?
All right. Is there a motion?
Yes, it's a motion. My motion to be, we leave it.
We don't use last week's motion?
I think
Yeah,
Commissioner Moore made a
well,
motion to table it, right?
I believe, yes, I believe that when Commissioner Moore made a motion to table, there was a motion ahead of that, you now brought it off the table, and so that motion should probably be the one that you're considering. I don't remember what that
I
motion
think
was.
you're right.
It's in the minutes, you want to take time to look at it.
The motion was that.
It's on page 4, Madam Clerk, the third paragraph, I believe.
The motion was that Commissioner Walter presented a motion that have the road department continue 4 10-hour days scheduling, second by Commissioner Martin.
Okay, so, right, we're leaving it at 4 10-hour days was the motion, that was originally, and then Commissioner Moore asked to table it. So we'll bring that back up, so the 4 10-hour days is the motion. Do I have a second?
You already have.
You already have a second. You have a motion and a second.
Okay,
Any discussion?
all right. Any further discussion?
The only thing that I would say is, I appreciate all the work that the road department do. Folks tell me all the time what an outstanding job that they do, and I just feel like we should leave it the way it is. That's all I got.
Well, we all appreciate, you know, what the road department does.
Absolutely.
And as I said earlier, you know, we're here to work for the public, you know, even up here at the dais and even the road grade operators and whoever. So we're working for the public.
Call for the question.
All right, question been called for. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You have 2 ayes. All those opposed? Aye. It, 3 to 2.
Passed or failed?
Failed. Okay,
So, Mr. Chairman, since that motion failed, your county coordinator has already made a decision. You have to do one of 2 things. You can do nothing and let that decision stand. You can have a motion in a second and decide it going the other way, or whatever the pleasure of the board is. But I think if you do nothing, I think the decision of the county coordinator would stand.
well, that's what I was gonna say, the decision at this point, with a, 2-3 vote, that it signals that the coordinator makes a decision. Unless we change it, we'll change something else.
Unless somebody else wants to make a motion doing
All right.
something different.
Do I have any other motion to be heard? Hearing none. The motion stands as defeated. Okay? We'll move on to,
Mr. Chairman, can I say one thing before you close that, please?
yes, buddy.
I'll apologize for my first coming up here, I'm not polished, so I don't get, I'm not real polished in my speaking. But, I understand now we're go to whatever Brian has us to go to, 5 days.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to say this, and I think I speak for the road department, we're grown men and grown women, we can handle it. We can handle it. We appreciate you listening to us, and thank you for what you've done for us. You went to bat for us, we appreciate that very much. But I'm gonna say this, we're gonna work just as hard in 5 days as we did in 4 days. We're still gonna do our job, because like I say, we appreciate and we're thankful for our job. And we have families. So I just wanna thank y'all for standing up for us and trying to help us continue the way we've been doing for about 11 years, saving the county money by working 4 days. And it saved employees, you know, that extra trip. And we're gonna work with Brian. I think all the department, I know I'm under Lonnie. Lonnie's my supervisor. Work under him, but I think we're gonna do what we can to work with y'all just as the same as, this never come up. We just wanna thank y'all for giving us this opportunity, and hey, it come to it, like I said earlier, it's a small county, something like this should never come to this. We always should stick together and try to work together. I wanna thank y'all, guys.
Buddy, I wanna thank you for your comments.
Appreciate you, all of you.
And I wanna say too, that I think the road department does an excellent job. I get a lot of comments about things at Arbet, and every time I get a comment about it, we've got a problem, I can call Buddy, I can call Lonnie, and it's usually fixed right away, or as quickly as y'all can. And I think y'all do it. I really wanna say, as everybody else has said, we thank you very much. God bless you. Number 3, and 4, it looks like number 3, 4, and 5 come under Jamie. Jamie, come on up. We'll treat you like we treat Lonnie sometimes when you got the next 3 items. Come on.
Looks like I'm taking up too many slots here, Steve. No, what I have is some good news. Some good things are happening in the mosquito control department, which is what I'm representing today. And the first thing is, for the last couple of years, actually, I guess it's been a year, we've had the Florida State University do our surveillance for us. And that's worked out real good, because they come in, they put the traps, they pick them up, they do the counts, and they send me a report. So I can tell you things every 2 weeks. I can tell you what our mosquito counts are looking like and what's out there. So that's great intel for me to do the job. However, this is done through a grant, through a legislative process. So they're having to lobby for this. They're having to get this money. There's been some shaking up within FDACS. There's a new commissioner now. There's new legislators, and some of them are not as mosquito savvy as the old ones were. So there's a big push this year to get support for this program. So what I was asked to do is to get as much support from my higher-ups as possible. So I forwarded an email to Brian, and we talked about it, and he agreed to bring it before you guys to do a letter of endorsement, so to speak, for the program. And that was what we were asking today, is to request a letter of support to continue this surveillance program, to let them know how important it is for our community.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner.
Move that grant request for letter of support.
Second. I have a motion and a second to support, request number 3 under the, continued from Florida State University mosquito surveillance program. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor of letter of support, say aye.
Aye.
5 opposed.
Great, thank y'all so much. And just as a little detail, it represents about $50,000 for that person. I think they paid them a pretty good salary to come and do our county and Taylor County. And with the equipment, the startup cost was like $120,000. So we're getting a good service for free. It doesn't cost us a dime. When they ask us to do stuff, I try to be Johnny on the spot, because we do appreciate it. So
Free is always good. We don't hear that too often.
exactly. So I appreciate that from you guys. Thank you so much.
Okay, you wanna, does that take care of number 4 also, or does
Number 4 is, a totally different thing, and, some more good news here. So, as you guys know, what we have in our county is what we call an IPM program, Integrated Pest Management. That covers a lot of facets. As a program, we're supposed to be doing everything we can to combat the mosquito problem because of disease, in every way possible. That includes larviciding, that includes adulticiding, it includes surveillance, things like that. Biological control, putting fish in ditches and things like that. However, with the limited funds that we have available to us, a larviciding program is really out of the scope of what we can do as a two-man department. And I know I've talked to some of you before about larviciding, and I've always said it's way too expensive. One man out there putting pellets, putting granules in the ditch, you're just not gonna do much good. So I would like to now mention that we are receiving the funds to start a larviciding program. And that's the main reason we've never done it. The startup fees were expensive. The equipment's expensive, the larviciding is expensive, and we just didn't have the funds out of the normal budget to do it. The funds that you guys give to the mosquito control department are used to pay my salary, my helper's salary. We also pay a part-time guy. He comes in 3 to 8 hours a week and helps me do some surveillance and other things. So our budget covers that stuff. Fuel for the trucks covers the chemical that we spray, and that's great. But to start a larvicide program, you're talking, pretty big bucks, significant. So I heard that there was a grant out there through Department of Health. I was told about it. I was asked if we wanted to participate in it, and I said, heck yeah. So they made me jump through some hoops. One of the hoops was to submit a budget of what I would spend the money on. So I did, and I shot high. And not only did I get that amount, I got an extra $10,000 on top of that because I was the quickest one to send in the budget. So in total, our county will be receiving $70,000 from the Department of Health. And what this will cover is equipment, everything necessary to get this program up and running. Again, I submitted a budget and it was broke down to, how many gallons of chemical, it's pretty extensive. So, what I have done now, the way this grant works is it's a reimbursement. So we spend the money up front, they give it back to us. And right now what they're doing is cutting me purchase orders for $20,000 at a time. The first purchase order already came in, I've already spent it. We got 2 new ULV units, brand new. So our old units are about 20 years old. And they've been giving me problems. And so first things first, priority, get the chemicals that we need to do the job, or get the equipment we need to do the job. Second thing I'm gonna do is buy the larvicide to use in the community. So the 2 old units we're gonna convert over to larviciding units. So we'll be able to do it from the trucks and not just out there by hand, which is gonna enable us to cover a lot more ground. So that's kind of my plan for the future. Any questions or?
I want to just thank you for getting a grant in and doing as well as you did on it. I think it's 70K is great.
Yeah, I was really happy.
I know you will put it to good use.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So you've already been approved, the grant's been approved, and you've been expending.
Yep. Now, here's the stipulation. It's a timed thing. They want us to have it spent by July 30th. I told them that's no problem for me. My problem is now I'm ready to buy more stuff, so I'm waiting for the reimbursement for the 20,000. So, that's not gonna be a problem. In fact,
when the next checks come?
yeah, in fact, I asked them if they could give it to us all in one lump sum, and they are actually gonna talk about doing that. So we may be rolling even faster, but it started out as an idea, and then it became a reality, and now it's kind of rolling. So we've already spent the 20,000. Should be getting a check for reimbursement for that, and then I could spend some more money. So that's kind of where we are, and I think it's gonna definitely boost our program from being a more reactive to a proactive. So now I can go out in the daytime. I'm not limited to nighttime spray. And now I can go out in Larborside in the daytime, and I'm not restricted to a certain area of the county. I can go out anywhere. As long as we have that truck and those chemicals, we can put it anywhere we want to in the county. And kind of head them off before there's a problem. And as y'all guys know, this is gonna be a bad season. They're already bad. So that's why I'm getting a little more proactive about it, trying to get ahead of the season.
Well, we had a wet fall and a little bit of rain today, and we very well may have a wet spring, and you know what that's
Yeah,
gonna bring.
and it's been really warm, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not seasonably warm.
Mr. Chair, if the
Yes.
motion is ordered, I move that we approve the, grant.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Thank you so much. And then the next one kind of, piggybacks off of that. So with the new sprayers, I really need some new trucks to put the sprayers on. It doesn't make sense to put new sprayers on our old trucks. We've got a 94 Ford that it runs good, and then we've got a 2001 Ford. So with the grant money, I would also like to purchase a couple of vehicles, and I've gone through the bid process. I've gotten 5 or 6 bids, and right now the cheapest one is Coggins, I believe in. Yeah.
Is that the same problem?
It's
There you go. You
it's
sure
the
you
same
wanna use
company.
Goggins?
I already had it circled.
You can get it in
with my
8 weeks.
opinion on it already.
You can get it in
Until I
8
heard
weeks.
Lisa's
Yeah, right.
opinion, so I go, I don't know.
I don't need
I
a,
thought we were going to Goggins too, but
Yeah.
Lee kinda shot that one.
well, I don't need a 4-wheel drive. So that 4x2 they delivered to you, I could use that one.
Call
I
them,
just
tell them, bring it back.
need- I just need bare bones. Hopefully
Call
they'll
Rick.
hopefully they'll have that one in stock, but, looking at 22,000, and I'll need 2 of those. So that's kind of where we're at with that.
And that will be
That'll keep
purchased
you
with,
within
that
your
will be
budget.
purchased with the grant money.
Right, it will be purchased with grant money, yes.
It will keep you
Yeah.
within your grant
Yes,
budget.
yep.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, got a motion to approve and second, any further discussion?
Approve a little bit.
A little bit, a little bit from Coggins. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
Thank y'all very much, and
All right.
unless you have any questions, that's all I got.
We only got 2 more items, but let's take a short break.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'd like to commend Jamie for not only getting that grant, but because of his diligence and record keeping and paperwork, the grant was larger than it was originally started out to be.
Right.
So I do wanna, and Jamie is an excellent record keeper.
Yes.
On both animal control and mosquito control, so I wanna commend you for that, Jamie, you do a good job.
Thank you, I hate paperwork, but sometimes it pays off, so I try to.
Well,
Appreciate you, James.
Thanks.
thank you, Janice, appreciate it very much.
Great job, Jamie.
Yeah, I think it's great. All right, 10 minutes.